How do you plan to communicate the value of assessment and accountability, and how do you respond to questions about overemphasis on testing?
Well, I think, we have to realize, first of all, as educators, that we have to be accountable, and assessment is a necessary part of what we provide for students as a way of being accountable and of measuring our progress. And so the first thing we have to think about is that we should be accountable. We are dealing with students, and we are dealing with public money, and so we should be accountable. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, every student has a right to achieve and achieve at high levels, and so we have to be able to measure that, and assessment is the means that we use to measure that. With those things, though, in the background and being said, the focus it should be on student achievement in the classroom, and that should be achieved with the focus being in and around quality instruction. We have to make sure our teachers have the resources and the tools that they need in order to ensure that students receive quality instruction every day in every classroom, so that ultimately whatever assessment we might be under becomes the outcome of that good quality instruction. We want every student to grow, we want every student to achieve, and we want every student to perform. And we have to make sure that the right strategies are in place to do that. Assessment is a means of measuring that, whether it's formative as a regular part of instruction, or whether it's used on an interim basis to measure progress, or whether it's summative from a reporting standpoint.
What is your plan for helping FCPS prepare for the new Kentucky Core Academic Standards, Senate Bill 1 implementation, and the new end-of-course assessments, which will begin in the 2011-2012 school year?
My role in that would be, if coming in, if I'm selected to be superintendent, would be to support the plan that is in place and to make sure that it happens. There's a plan that's been put in place by the board and the current administration to make sure that staff are trained on the new standards, to make sure that each school has a means to know that the lessons are being planned and units are being planned using those standards, and that we're preparing for the assessment that will be based on those standards. And throughout the district, what the superintendent's role would be to make sure that through the central office staff and through the building level administration that those plans are carried out efficiently and effectively, and the resources are provided to make sure that it happens the way it should.
How will you work to ensure that every student has the benefit of a high-quality teacher?
Well, quality instruction, to me, as I alluded to earlier, is the most important thing that we can bring to the table as a school district. We have to make sure our teachers are well prepared, they have the right resources, the right training and professional development, because every one of us can think about who those best teachers that we've had or that we've seen are, and we want everybody to be able to experience that. And so as a district, we have to ensure that we are providing the right types of training and support and resources so that each teacher can get better, and we can look at even our best teachers. They'll have a drive and a move to try to improve, but then as you move across the continuum, we have to have individual strategies, just like we do for students. To meet their needs, we have to do the same thing for teachers.
What program or procedure do you use currently to track the growth of each student from year to year, and what are the pros and cons of the system that you use, and how is that data clearly communicated to the parents of each student?
We currently use measures of academic progress, or MAP, which is also used here in Fayette County. We've used it for a little over 12 years now, I think. That's about right in our district, and we actually use it as an instructional tool to help teachers be able to gauge progress and growth. It will measure where a student is at grade level, and we have a target measures there we try to reach, and then we can predict a year's growth in reading and math, and we can measure that as it's assessed at least twice, if not 3 times a year for each of our students. And I know that that tool as an instructional tool, along with good formative assessments that are used in the classroom, are the type tools teachers need to see to make sure that students are growing and making the progress that they need to make.
As a superintendent, how will you get to know our schools, and what factors will help inform your judgments about the quality of individual schools in Fayette County?
Well, I'd like to have about 10 or 20 more days like today, if we can arrange that, because I've learned an incredible amount today. If I could meet with more people like I've done today, I could learn about this district on kind of the fast forward means. But quite honestly, if I were selected for this job, if the board does make their decision this Friday as planned, and if I were lucky enough to be selected for it, I'll be here next weekend starting, to meet people and moving forward. That's what it's going to take. We've got to make sure that there's no step backward, there's continuity of leadership, and that, we continue to build those relationships and that collaboration among the community.